divorce is a very, very important topic. It should not be something that's tabooed or repressed. Openness, transparency, the willingness to answer questions, no matter how awkward, are really important features to allow a child or young adult or teenager to have access to. Just real openness and accountability and responsibility, of course, on the part of the parent for what they created and actually failed at maintaining for the child's sake. There is no such thing as a divorce that doesn't affect the children negatively at all. That's a pipe dream. So, of course, divorce is, a child grows up loving both parents, they believe in the parents, they have faith and trust in the parents, and when a divorce occurs, all that is ruptured and has to be reassessed. Now, a developing teenager or young adult has better coping skills with divorce than a child that's under the age of 11 or 7 or 5. A 2-year-old, of course, isn't really aware of it, though a 2-year-old will feel the effect emotionally, because the child is the container for the feelings of the parents, and that's what happens psychologically in the bonding process and thereafter in the family developmental process. And so, the effect on an adult of divorce will be, in later life, when the young adult or child is grown up, will be unconscious, and a lack of trusting and faith in relationship, especially marital relationship, that it will endure, that there will be, for instance, fidelity and loyalty and cooperation, supportiveness and lovingness. Of course, that's not what their experience was in their family of origin. If two parents feel they are heading towards divorce, they have to get divorced, separation first, of course. In order to affect the children as little as possible, they should never discuss the matters of the marital separation and divorce in front of the children. If the children are older, young adults or teenagers of 15, 16, 17, 18, they need to take them aside individually to discuss it. They should never make the child take a side in any case, and it should always be as loving and cooperative a divorce as possible, with as little contention, and certainly they should never be involved with the lawyers. But one thing to consider is that one of the parents walking away, or both parents walking away, are they going to take their world with them into the next relationship that they get into? And will the child be with them through that too? So in that case, if it will persist after the divorce, it's better to stay married and work it out, and get divorced and recreate the same scenario in another relationship. Of course, sometimes two parents just don't get along, and they could get along with in future relationships. In any event, it's important to realize that at certain places, divorced people are shunned. Certainly amongst married couples that are stable, there's a lack of continued socialization or socializing with divorced couples, people that are of divorced marriages. That feeling of loss of friends and loss of couples relationships will occur, and that can feel rather humiliating at times or depressing. There's the grief stage for divorced families and divorced couples, that they go through the grieving process of the loss of marriage, depending on the number of years in which the marriage endured and the depth of commitment that failed. There are many factors to consider. In general, I think that amongst many cultures in America, and I'm talking about not just the coasts, but the rest of the population, there's a feeling of you have failed, and so we do not respect you as much. Friends are very comforting to children of divorced parents or parents that are divorcing, especially those that have gone through it before. But the most important thing you can tell a friend, as a friend, is I'm here for you. I'm here for you. You call me anytime. Listen, I understand what you're going through. It's difficult. You know, I love you. I'm your best friend, or I'm your friend. I am not leaving. I'm here. So adult children of divorce are not generally more afraid or prone toward conflict. Conflict is inherent in all relationships. It's inescapable in relationship. This is Earth. We are human beings. So we're going to have conflict from time to time. Adult children of divorce, or children of divorce, young adults, teenagers, they have a more difficult time handling conflict in terms of coming to a harmonious and cooperative as well as loving resolution more quickly than not. And that's because there have not been the skills implanted in them of how to work through deep conflict, which at times can occur. So their parents walked away from the conflicts that they had. They couldn't resolve them. So an adult child of divorce generally has a tendency to walk away from conflict or not be able to handle conflict in a mature manner, which makes the conflict escalate and leads to more impulsive activity or more impulsive responses rather than really mature responses that are aware of the realization that the marriage is more important than any individual in the marriage. The marriage and the family are the creation of two individuals that get together and create something greater, bigger than themselves. And the mature response to conflict in a marriage is surrendering to the relationship, not to each other necessarily, but to the relationship, living for the marriage, for the family, in the sense of wanting that to thrive, not only survive, but thrive, so that the children may thrive as well and be nurtured by it. So, a child who has come from a divorce, as they grow older, if they're not working through their feelings from the damage of the divorce, those feelings become kind of encrusted and more part of their foundation of their character rather than just temporary thoughts and temporary feelings. The more time that they sit around without examining themselves in a transparent and responsible way, through professional help or otherwise, in some other form or fashion, the more likely that when they become an adult, that they're going to enter into a romantic relationship with greater trepidation, greater instability, more mistrust, less trust, and ultimately with the idea that, well, this may be temporary. Okay, my parents got a divorce, I can always get a divorce. And then the commitment to the relationship, which has to be really deep to work through times of conflict and times of stress and times of trouble, is just not there as much as people who have not experienced a divorced family but come from a healthier family life. And the commitment has been modeled by their own parents through the many decades of their enduring marriage.